Hi there. Welcome back to this week's Pep Talk. Today, I am sharing a little bit of a personal story that has sort of rocked our world a little bit, and that is an unexpected reminder about how precious time is. And honestly, this experience made me reflect on my own priorities and how I've worked so hard to create a life where I can be present with my family, pursue our passions, and make a difference. And a lot of times, I think we just need a reminder that it's not about the numbers or the accolades, it's about the impact we make. So, hi again, I'm Holly Haynes. I'm a business strategist and I help you build a full time business on a part time schedule without depending on the social media algorithm. And so today, I really want you to think about as you're launching your business and setting big goals, remember that success is more than just revenue, right? It's about creating a life that allows you to do what you love and make a positive impact. And so in this episode, I'm going to go through how you can just use this as a reminder to think about your schedule, prioritize what matters, how to celebrate your achievements, big or small, and remember in the end that time is the ultimate currency. Welcome back to this week's Pep Talk. And again, we're getting a little personal. I don't know. Maybe it's like a phase that I'm going through. Usually I'm like super strategic, super like give me the checklist, but I've just been having this like call to kind of like dig a little bit deeper. And so today we're really going to dig into success and thinking about success in a way that's not tied to revenue. Of course, I think most of you want to make money in your business, but what if it was more than that? And so I'm going to start out this episode with a story that is super, super recent. I am writing this in pretty real time. It seems to be the theme these days. I keep trying to get ahead and it's just not working out that way. But I'm writing this in the same week that I actually attended a funeral for one of our neighbors. It's actually the family that has lived next door to us for over 8 years, and the husband passed away unexpectedly 3 months after retiring. Like, makes me tear up just thinking about it. 3 months. Like, to me, I have like the Alanis Morissette song going through my head. Like, isn't it ironic? And it's just, I don't know. It hit me so hard that I felt like I had to share it because it just made me realize, like, wow, the stuff that I was worrying about in this season is like not even relevant, right? So I will also share, if you've listened to some of our beginning podcasts, like funerals are generally very hard, which I'm sure that you know, but they're also super triggering for me because I lost my dad from cancer when I was 24. So the neighborhood that we live in is 17 houses, right? So it's pretty impactful when a family is in need or something happens. And it just, I don't know, it shook my husband Scott and I like pretty hard. Like it just, I feel like it just like took us aback. And one is because it was so unexpected. Two, it was because he just retired. He also has two young girls who are 22, 23, 24, somewhere in that age. And I can relate to it so well. It just brought back so many memories. And so I just had this moment where Scott and I were just like sitting and looking at each other like, oh my goodness, if this isn't a sign to pay attention to what you do and where you spend your time, then I don't know what is. Like this is a huge sign, right? So for me, I worked really, really hard, and I'm sure a lot of you can relate to this, to really build this business to where it is now. And my whole goal, which I've told this story before, was to just put my kids on the bus. Like I just wanted to be able to put my kids on the bus and get them off the bus without it being like a shit show every day or having to rearrange so many things so that I could just be the person that picked them up. So it also has turned into being able to take care of my mom, to be able to go on walks in the middle of the day instead of 9 o'clock at night, right? And not having to rearrange our schedule to help support our neighbors. And so I was sitting down to write this podcast, and this story just like stood out. And we've been talking so much about storytelling and like making it personal. And I was like, I can't skip this, right? So if I'm being really honest, we're in the middle of a launch of our anti-social school program. This is not the podcast that was planned, but I was like, it doesn't matter. I haven't even thought about it in the last couple of days, which I guess is good because it's how a stress-free launch should be. But to me, it was just a reminder that like your worth as a person is not tied to your business, right? And success personally for me is not tied to revenue. It's tied to being able to take my girls to a sunflower field this weekend when we all needed a reset instead of working on the launch because life got really intense, right? It's tied to being able to write a podcast on my patio on a Monday afternoon when the sun was shining. It was like 70 degrees. I was listening to Nora Jones and I was like, oh, I'm just going to write this because it feels good. And that's amazing. And it's tied to honestly creating a community where I can show up in tears after a funeral and share heartfelt conversations about what it means to build a business in real life. Like real things are happening. It's not this like robotic process of posting 17 times a day, right? So success for our family, if you're thinking about, okay, well, what does success mean to me if it's not tied to revenue? Success for our family is not being tied to our screen. It's not having to constantly create content to bring in revenue. I refuse to do that, refuse. And it's just being reminded that time is a gift, right? And I share this because I feel like it's really important right now because it's launch season and you should launch things in your business. And it's one of the most productive times of the year. So you should put yourself out there and set big goals and build a strategy, right? But what if the success of it was simply the actions of doing it, was simply creating the schedule where you can do the things that you want and have the time that you want to do it? And what if it wasn't about, I'm going to make $100,000 in this launch, but more about, I did everything I said I was going to do, and I still had time to take my kids to dance class and go visit my mom and have a date with my husband, right? So this pep talk is just a reminder that time is the ultimate currency. And going back to the story at the beginning, at the funeral that we attended, we were talking to our neighbor's dad. So he was 92, I think. He was definitely in his 90s. And he said to my husband, Scott, and I don't know why I'm here anymore, but I keep showing up because there's something I have left to do. And you can like probably hear it in my voice. And so I just want you to think in this season of busyness and like seasonal shifts, success isn't always tied to the revenue, right? It's important, but like go make an impact. Go do what you said you were going to do. Follow through with your actions and celebrate that. So you control your actions, you control your schedule, and you can enjoy your time, right? And I hope this just, I know this is a little bit different, but I hope encourages you that you can really do anything if you just take a deep breath and remember that success can be celebrated in so many different ways, right? Not just how much money you make in a month. And so one of the things that we do inside our club and Anti-Social School and our mastermind is we've been starting off all of our calls with what are your wins? And wins are not business related. It can be anything. And I would just encourage you to think about that as you go into the weekend, if you're listening to this in real time or going into a busy season. And when you think about stepping into your CEO era, which is a term that I actually really love, right? Like think about taking back your time. That's going to give you everything you need.